Good morning and happy Saturday, Bell staff. This is Precious, and I'm recording from not just the safety of my home, but the safety of my bed. Um, I wanted to sit somewhere where I just kind of felt comfortable for this week's message. When I send these messages out, it's really for two primary reasons. One, it's usually to provide some updates if I have some to share. And the other is to connect with you in the best way I can, considering the restrictions around social distancing and so forth. And usually I just try to connect in a way that's super simple and from the heart. And I don't know that I have a simple way of connecting at this time, but I definitely have some things that I just want to share with you all and acknowledge. As we all know that the city, the country is in distress. And like many of you, I'm feeling some sadness, some anger, and some confusion. And although I can't control a lot of what's happening outside of my home, I can't help but think about the students that we serve, our students, the families that we serve, and how everything that's currently happening is going to affect the work that we have to do moving forward. And all I can ask is that everyone take this opportunity to be reflective on who they are, what they stand for, what they believe, and are they part of the problem or are you part of the solution? And if you are connecting with families, I'm asking that you continue to be kind and humble and understanding and flexible during this time because of the range of emotions that people are feeling and experiencing as they're watching the news and they're following social media or they're out in the streets participating in protest or whatever the case may be. I'm just asking that you be aware that a lot is happening outside of your Zoom call or your Zoom class or the assignment that you've pushed out for individuals to complete. And I just need you to be humble and understanding about that. I'm also asking, as you think about the closing of this year and the planning for our next school year, that you think about how everything we're seeing and we're hearing and experiencing is going to impact our work. This whole notion of school versus family and community, teacher versus administrator, classified versus certificated, black versus white versus Mexican versus Filipino, men versus women, younger versus old. All of those bias mentalities and practices are alive even within the Bell community. And I would be lying if I said that it wasn't, that I haven't seen it, that I haven't heard from many of you that you've experienced it. And I have a duty not to ignore it and to address it. I don't have all the answers, and I definitely don't have a plan to address it all because it's extremely overwhelming. But I know that if we continue to keep things bottled inside, when it does finally comes out, it comes out in a way that is much more aggressive, much more hurtful, and in some cases violent. And so as I'm thinking about reimagining what is Bell Middle School, I have to be honest about that. I've shared this in my last message that Bell Middle School is no longer just 620 Briarwood. Distance learning is going to continue to be a part of our identity, who we are and what we stand for. And we have to start figuring out, how are we going to stay connected to each other? How are we going to stay connected to our students and our families and still fulfill everything that needs to be fulfilled and provide an education, a quality education to our students? And I can't do this without you. I know that some of you are going to be leaving Bell for a variety of reasons, and you're going to start a new chapter in your life. Others will return, and I'm hoping that you will return with a sense of urgency, but also being humble. I need you to stay connected with us. It could be via email, via Google Classroom, via Google Voice, and via social media. But I need you to be with me on this journey, and I need you to be ready. And so just know that those things are weighing heavy on my heart right now. That I am feeling the sense of urgency. I'm feeling the range of emotions. And I want to try to figure this out, but I need to reflect on myself and my role and my responsibility. And how am I a part of the solution, and how am I a part of the problem? And I need you to do the same. I need you to acknowledge that you don't have all the answers. I need you to acknowledge that you have some blind spots and you have some bias against people who don't look like you, who don't believe what you believe, who don't like what you like, who didn't have the experiences that you had. And that because of that, we have included some and we've excluded others. That includes colleagues as well as students. And we as a collective have created a culture of the have and the have-nots at Bell. And how do we change that? I do want to thank Mr. Mextroth, because he is the one taking the lead on putting together our virtual promotion. My heart is broken that we won't have an opportunity to get with our 8th grade students and see them on their way into high school. But this is a part of our new norm, and we have to jump on board, and we have to figure out how we're going to get through this together. I want to thank all of you that are going to come out to the campus Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to help us with textbook and instrument returns. Just a reminder, in case you're getting questions, students do not need to return their laptops unless they are leaving the district. If they're going to a private school, charter school, or an online homeschool, then they need to return their laptops this week. Otherwise, they keep their laptops until next year because they're going to need them via distance learning in some capacity. The only things that they need to return are textbooks and instruments. I also want to remind you all that I sent an email out on Friday asking you to save the date for our end of the year staff meeting. I have not called any meetings recently, and so I am asking, regardless of what we're used to with a 1-hour meeting, that you save an hour and a half for us to have our final staff meeting of the year on Tuesday, June 9th from 1 to 2:30. If for some reason you cannot make it, I expect you to extend some professional courtesy to let admin know that you're unavailable. Otherwise, I do expect every employee of San Diego Unified School District that is assigned to Bell Middle School to participate in the staff meeting. It is important to me. It is important for our colleagues that you show up and that you be present. And again, if you're not able to make it, I need you to let me know. Again, thank you so much for tuning in to this video. I'm just a text message away. And please expect to get more videos from me in the next weeks to come as I make sense of what our reality is and as information is then provided to me and I can provide that information to you. I do not have any additional information at this time about the last access day for the year where you all can come in and clean out your classrooms and your spaces. But as soon as I get that information, I'll let you know. I love you all and I appreciate you. Even those of you that I may not always easily communicate with or communicate with often, I recognize that that's a bias of mine, and I'm working on doing better at that. I'm praying for you and your families.